production, and we, in 1959, we actually went out and bid for it at the Lands Department, and there were three of us, myself and two other friends, and then we divided it up immediately because we knew if we didn't do it straight away, it's going to cause a problem. And then eventually we converted it into freehold, and then we, of course, subdivided it and ended up with just over 300 acres each. There was a 1,000-acre block, and we had to give some back to the government. And originally there was no road from Clohesy River Road, Cedar Park Road. We built Cedar Park Road before we could even come in here. I came to live on the property, it was 1969 that we bought it, and I came here in 71 overall. And I lived in a caravan down further for about 3 years. But anyway, that's the history of the place. And I don't think any of us have ever regretted coming here. Of course, I must admit that my former wife, well, that was the splitting point. She never came here. So that was the end of my marriage, and I had 6 children at that stage. So anyway, what do we do here? That's what everybody wants to know. What sort of things are carried on here? Well, the easiest way to answer that is to tell you that if you had a health problem and you didn't want to go down the medical track, you would come to see me. We provide you with the alternative way of restoring your health without the use of any form of medical or even the alternative medical treatments. We do not use any medicines of any kind, homeopathic, biochemic, whatever name you know. We teach you how to live so as the very natural process, which is the basis of life, of the natural healing power of your body enables you to heal, because that's the only thing that heals. Nothing else heals. You hear about, oh, the healing power if you take this, or the healing power if you take that. That's not true. The only thing that heals you is your own body. And when you understand that, and you come to really appreciate it, it takes all the fear out of life, doesn't it? You don't fear getting ill. When you understand that when you become ill, that is the process of healing. That is how your body is healing you from the damage you've done to it, or the damage we've done to it. Because I do just as much damage too at times. I'm, shall we say, not always perfect. Far from it. But I try. And they say, God loves a tryer, isn't it right? So I'm trying.
Yeah, very trying.
Someone had to say it.
Here, we have treated practically every non-medical condition. Doesn't matter what it is. I've also been involved in dealing with cancer cases, with people who are having babies, with women with delivered babies, with set bones. The only instances that we don't deal with are those which are requiring surgery. And I will say to you this, most surgery is unnecessary. And in actual fact, it's counterproductive, because not only do you have to overcome the effects of the damage you've done to your body, you've got to also overcome the effects of the surgery and of the anaesthetic. Do you know the closest thing you'll ever go to dying without dying is having an anaesthetic? Most people don't realise that. It takes you so close to that point. And that's why so many people die under anaesthesia. And so you can understand that if you can come to the realisation, to the point of where you can trust your body. But trusting your body means more than just that. It means you've got to trust yourself too. Because you're the one that provides your body with the things it needs to survive. You're the one who feeds it. You're the one who thinks its thoughts. You're the one who gets the exercise it needs, or don't get the exercise, or the fresh air, or the sunlight. Because all of these things are necessary. We need to put our body in balance with the environment, and then it can perform these so-called miracles. I'd like to share perhaps one or two experiences. This one goes back 40 years ago. This lady was a sister in charge of a ward at the Cairns Space Hospital. She came to me and she had a medical condition which had been diagnosed as a heart condition. And she was going and seeing her heart specialist once a week. And she said, "John, can you help me?" And I said, "No, but you can help yourself. I can tell you how to help yourself." So I told her, and she said, "Sorry, John, can't do it. Too hard." 7 years later, she walked in my door. How do I know it was 7 years later? She told me so. She said, "For the past 7 years," she said, "I have been religiously following the advice of my heart specialist." She said, "I not only have a heart condition now, I have high blood pressure and I have leukemia." She said, "I'm willing to do anything you want." Just over 3 months later, of course I'd seen her often in the meantime, she came to me and she said, "John, I want to go and I want to show my specialist how much better I am." She said, "What do I think?" I said, "Yes, I think that's a jolly good idea." She said, "But I have to go into the hospital for a week for these tests." I said, "Well, that's okay if your family will bring your food into you, so as you're fed properly and so on." "Oh," she said, "that's no problem." She had 6 children of her own. And I saw every one of those afterwards. She said, she told me this story after she came out from there. She said, "You can understand that I've been a nursing sister in charge of a ward, and I have never seen so many tests carried out on any one person in the whole of my life as I had carried out on me." And she said, the last day, the medical specialist came to me and he said to me, "I don't know what it is you're doing with all that silly food and all those nuts and seeds, but keep it up." So, why am I standing here today? Not because I went and did a course in this or a course in that. Why I did a course in naturopathy, in chiropractic, in osteopathy. Why I've learned counselling and so on. That was the after effect. It all started when I was a child. I don't remember ever spending any great deal of time being well. I always seemed to be ill. At one stage I remember sitting and hitting my head against the wall to get relief from my pain and how I felt. That's how it affected me. I used to suffer from, I started bronchitis and migraine headaches. So I used to get migraine headaches which would last, 3 days and then it'd take a week to get over it. And gradually, of course, that got worse until I had asthma, and then I was developing arthritis in my hands. So I eventually went to the series of lectures by this man Pretorius, and he so enthused me that I changed my life overnight. He wasn't a raw foodist by any means, but he certainly was a major raw foodist, a major person with regard to lifestyle. Change your lifestyle. And I did that. And I got over my headaches, I got over my asthma, and I got over my arthritis. Now you can imagine what sort of effect it's going to have on you. Wow, if this can benefit me so much, I wonder if it can benefit other people too. So I looked around and found this course, and I was able to do a course in naturopathy, chiropractic, osteopathy, as I mentioned. And then I started in practice. But one of the things that I wanted to share with you too is when I overcame the asthma, I fasted at one stage more than I feasted. I would spend 3 days fasting because I had a family of 6 children to maintain too at that time. So I couldn't stop work. And then I'd just get off the fast again in about the 7th day, and I'd have to fast again. And that went on for 6 months. And that's what I did for 6 months. 3 days fast, come back onto the food, 7th day, 8th day, I'd fast again, another 3 days. So I'm just showing you how it is that our body can be enabled to heal itself. But this is what we have to be willing to put into doing this. There's no use thinking it's going to happen overnight by taking a few pills or potions or just eating raw food or whatever like that. It's not going to happen. You've got to be, as they say, fair dinkum. Isn't that the old Australian slogan? You've got to be fair dinkum in what you're doing. And then later on, of course, in the beginning, I was, shall we say, I would say I was about 80% raw and 20% cooked food. In 1971, when I came to the farm, I dropped all cooked food, and I haven't eaten any cooked food at all. If you go into the kitchen there, you won't find any cooking facility. There's nothing in there. The council actually came out and inspected it and said, not sure, John, no cooking facilities, I'm not sure we can give you a license. I was able to convince them in the end. So, and I have never regretted that decision in the whole of my life. I've never regretted the fasting and the ability to understand the benefits of it when you're to enable the body to use all of its energy to direct it to healing, because that's what fasting does. Fasting is where you lie in bed, do nothing, just drink water and think good thoughts. That's a bit hard sometimes, I know. All you can think about is the money going out and not coming in and all those sort of things. I know, been there, done that. It still happens too sometimes. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you think, I've got to buy this, I've got to fix up the, yes, yes, and so it goes on. So, but all of this has brought me that this farm I've made as sustainable as I possibly can. There is no mains electricity here. It is all solar power, everything. Any hot water that we have is heated by the sun, and so it goes on. I tried to limit the use of machinery. I've got 2 mowers and 2 whippersnippers. Unfortunately, I found that I can't keep up with it outside of that. I can, the wet season, I can be on the mower 5 and 6 hours a day and not even see where I've been sometimes. But that's my compromise. But I refuse to have a mobile phone. Anyway, we haven't got good reception anyway. Yeah. So the next thing that occurred to me when I first came here was, at that time I had a tractor. And I was trying to clear the land to be able to grow, or to have the land cleared to grow things. And I'd been on this tractor for nearly 12 hours. And I was tired. And you know how it is when you're tired, you don't think so clearly. And I didn't. And when you're hauling logs with a tractor, you don't hook them on the back of the tractor. You take them underneath and hook them on the front. Well, I didn't. And I rolled a tractor on top of myself. And I crushed the vertebrae in my spine. Most people don't survive. But with 3 crushed vertebrae, I should be a paraplegic in a wheelchair. But I lived the life, and I practiced the life that I know. And today, here I am, still. I won't tell you how many years later. Years disappeared, don't they, Ivy? Oh dear, I can't believe it. No. I'll tell you, my sister's 90 years old. How's that? That's giving you a guess now. So, soon after that, 2 years down the track, I was doing some work on the timber. And as you know, the white ants love timber. And so you've got to treat it. And I was treating it with creosote. And in those days, creosote had arsenic and strychnine in it. In the roof. And a friend of mine was pushing the timber up to me. And it grazed my thigh. There's the scar. And it came up like a huge carbuncle. I couldn't walk the next day. The poison went through my body. And nobody has been known to survive that. And again, but how? What did I go through? Firstly, I fasted as long as my body required, or because your body has a limited time that it can do these things. When I talk about fasting, I'm not talking about juicing, I'm talking about drinking water only. Because everything else is feasting. Everything else takes energy away from the healing. And so I fasted. And then I was in contact with some friends and I asked them, I said, okay, because I had a caravan then, I didn't have a building to live in. I was still building. And I said, please, will you come just every few days and bring me whatever I need? Anyway, somebody else heard about this and they organised it against my will, that I ended up at a health centre in Sydney. They didn't know what to do. I had to tell them. But I spent 14 weeks there just on grapes. The grapes ran out. And then I spent another 3 weeks on pears. And by the time that had finished, I was just able to hobble around enough to get me back here. That's over 4 months, just eating one type of fruit. It gives you an idea. So, that was the next thing I got over. And as I say, nobody has been known, again, to survive these situations. This to me underlines the correctness and what some people would call the miraculousness of nature cure, of our bodies to heal themselves. So what happened next to me? the next thing that occurred was through the stress of the situation that occurred in my life. My wife, I split up with my wife and, all those things. I'm sure I don't need to go into all that, but I developed cancer of the lower jaw, just in there. And it was oozing blood and pus into my mouth all the time. The medical method of dealing with that is to operate on your jaw until your jaw is gone, and then you die. I still got my jaw, but I'm still alive. So, they're just a few of the things that I've experienced, and that's what has brought me to what I'm doing today. I believe wholly and solely in the natural healing power of the body, and how important it is, as far as diet is concerned, to eat whole raw foods and to not mix them as much as you possibly can, to eat them simply one at a time. Because then your body will tell you when you've had enough. It'll tell you if you shouldn't be eating it. If you take and start eating a handful of whatever it is, mangoes or pears or grapes or durian. Oh, you said durian? You'll know quite quickly when you've had enough, won't you? Your body tells you very quickly. But if you start mixing it with other things, it doesn't tell you. It's like you add salt to something. You no longer are tasting that food as it is. You're tasting it with salt in it. And so you tend to overeat. Sugar or honey, it doesn't matter. The only way we should eat honey is by the spoonful. And then we'll know very shortly when we've had enough. I know I can only eat perhaps 1 or 2 tablespoons at the most, like that. But you put it into something else and you can keep on adding it because it tastes so sweet. So, having said all of that, and hoping I haven't bored you to tears, I hope that you'll understand that by living this way of life, you take the fear out of life. Because fear kills. More people die from fear every year than die from the bites of poisonous snakes. It's hard to believe, isn't it? How many people do you know that their whole life is worry, worry, worry? It's all centred about worrying about this or worrying about that. The worry. We have a piece of philosophy. Always do the best you can. And what you can't do, don't worry about. Because the worry will kill you anyway. Waste of time. You worry?
You are.
Awesome.
So, I'm open to you asking any questions, but I might have to ask somebody to tell me what you said. So forgive me for that, won't you? Oh.
I don't want to know your age as much as what motivates you to not say it.
Oh.
Because
well,
I understand, like, women.
It's a bit of a game, you know. It's
like a
having
joke.
a bit of game.
Yeah.
So how old am I?
90.
Have a guess.
My question was, why wouldn't you want to say
Well, I'm
it?
not
But I'd say you're probably in the 80s, like 80? In the 80 mark?
98.
Oh,
I'm in my 87th year. I'm still maintaining the farm.
Yeah.
But if I was serious, I would wear it as a badge. I'm 87. Instead of saying, no, I'm not telling you. Yeah.
So, what problem? Well, see, my mother was, you know, at the time that I was a child, caste consciousness was still a very big thing in our society. I'm not sure it still isn't, actually, but My mother came from the upper class in Adelaide and never had eaten in her life, I don't think, any raw food at all. It was always cooked. And she had this idea that if you ate raw food, it would make you ill.
A lot
And
of
so,
them did back then.
as a child, I was fed up on cooked food, and when I say cooked food, it was cooked. Yeah. And I used to go out because we did have a few fruit trees in the backyard, and when the fruit was on, I'd sneak out and sneak the fruit off the trees, and then be told when they saw me eating it, "That'll make you ill." Well, of course, perhaps it would allow the body to become ill, because illness is the process of getting well. So this was what brought me, because I would say until I was, 9 years of age, 8 to 9 years of age, I would have been lucky if I had very much raw food at all. All was cooked, every bit of it. But then what changed then was the war came along. In Adelaide, I was sent to live with relatives on their farms. The best thing that ever happened. It was wonderful. I loved it. You know, my first wife, 3 times before we were married, I told her, "I'm a country mouse. I'm not a city mouse." And she'd say, "Oh yeah." It took me 20 years and 6 children to find out she hated the country. That's what broke us up. You know, freshwater valley. We lived on the farm, which was the last farm before the Crystal Cascades. And that to her was the end of the world.
Yeah. Beautiful world.
And it was only
Used to be
really.
wrecked.
We went through a life where whenever I was doing anything that I loved, it was something she hated. If I was doing something she loved, I hated it.
Oh dear.
That
It
was
mustn't
how
have
we
been
were.
like that all the time, John, because you had 6 children.
So
Just took it in turns. But you
Just like that.
we do everything but. We think it's fun to go out and get ourselves full of alcohol or whatever, taking psychedelic drugs or eating junk food or so on. It's amazing what is considered as fun these days in our society.
Getting up in the morning's a good start. Getting up in the morning is a good start. That's fun.
So John, in your process of learning and understanding the body and living on the land and being sustainable, did you find that some of the techniques applied to the land, like the growing things? Did you discover?
There's nothing different. Doesn't matter which part you look at. It's all a oneness, you might say. It's just that you have to forget half the time what you've learned
Being taught.
and relearn it all. Isn't that right, Ivy? You've got to. This is just another instance which perhaps has no relationship to what we're talking about there, but it's an interesting one. My wife and 3 children were living on the farm at this particular time, and this was my second wife.
So it's 9 kids already.
And
Right. No.
9 now. 6 plus 3.
yes, but they were her children, not mine. And she and all the children had nits in the hair, and they were washing their hair religiously every day with hot water and shampoo. I was not washing my hair, nor was I shampooing it, but I didn't have nits. Why?
You're in
How?
tasty.
I was brushing my hair well every day, and it wasn't until she stopped washing the children's hair with the shampoo and started brushing it as I was, that she got rid of the nits. She and the children got. It's just
That
so simple.
easy.
You know, I don't use washing powders or such like. They leave a film on everything.
Yum.
They don't make it clean. You need clean water. You don't need detergents. Give me the simple life. This is what it's all about. Keep it simple, Stephen. Keep it simple.
And sustainable.
And that's, to me, is the secret of success, is by keeping things simple.
Beautiful.
In every way, shape and form. In every aspect of it. And learning to trust nature in itself in every way. Because if you're open to that and are willing to learn the lessons, she will teach you. But too often we're so set in this medical concept of fear. If you don't take this, if you don't use that, if you don't that, we don't do that at all. Trust and obey, for there's no other way. So it goes on, doesn't it? Any more questions?
Thank you, John.
Ah,
Thank
it's
you.
a pleasure.
Now, would you like to take us on a garden walk?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You going to carry me?
Now you can carry me.